Hey guys, Micah Kenny here again, and today I am going to be doing the breakdown video to my song Questions. Because I was talking to one of my subscribers and they said that, yeah, they thought I should go ahead and do a breakdown video. So, what I'm going to do is I have the lyrics right here in front of me. I'm just going to go through each lyric and explain like where the lyric comes from and the scriptural theology behind the lyric, and also how it applies to the story of the song. So I think this will be a pretty cool video and informative. Alright, so perhaps the most important lyric in this entire song might be the first lyric, in the way that it applies to the story of the song and what's going on in this guy's life at the time. So the first lyric is, you're just living your life doing his will. And that's the most important thing for us to remember as singles, as we're going through life at a young age, at a middle age, even at an older age, as we're going through our life as singles. 1 Corinthians 7 talks a lot about contrasting the idea of singleness and marriage and what we should be doing in each case. And the Apostle Paul talks a lot about that during our singleness we should be redeeming the time. We should be doing his will, because we should have a God-centeredness rather than a self-centeredness during our singleness time. Because if you think about it, when you're single, you have a lot more ability to focus on God. Not that you can't do that in a marriage. It's actually very important that a marriage is focused on God still, even after you're no longer single. But we'll get to that later on in the song. So important thing once again to remember is just maintain an upward focus. Like Colossians, I believe it is Colossians 3:2 says, maybe it's 2:3. It's one of those. It says, set your affections on things above rather than on things of this world. And that's very important for us to remember, is to just have a Christ-centeredness rather than a self-centeredness. And then the next lyric is, and then along comes a girl who just makes you feel. Now this last lyric right there, that word feel, is used in love songs so much. It's generally put together with love in the sense of feelings, because people make the mistake that love is a feeling, but that's one of the very small aspects of love. It's not the most important aspect of love, which we'll go through towards the end of the song, what the most important aspect of love is. Feeling, there's a popular song that says love is more than a feeling, and that is very true, because if you focus on love as a feeling, you become caught up in the self-love aspect of, oh, I feel for this person, I need them to feel the same way back. When you focus on the feeling aspect of love, you get more concerned about using the word I and me and less about you and us. And so, and that's very popularly used, the self-love aspect that is taught through psychology, which I would not recommend following, because the self-love aspect is extremely not scriptural. And then the next lyric goes, you don't know what it is, or maybe you do and you're just afraid to admit it. Right there, that word afraid. So it is very important when talking about love to understand that love has nothing to do with fear, and which we'll reiterate that later on in the song, because that's one of the main lyrics in the final verse. But so 1 John 4:18 says, for there is no fear in love, for perfect love casteth out fear. For fear causeth torment. Anyone that feareth is not made perfect in love. So you see, there is no fear in love. There's meant to be no fear in love. But when you get caught up in the afraid to admit the truth, because that is very common in our culture today with us, because we are afraid of the truth. We are afraid to admit the truth, because the truth makes manifest the wrongs we have done. People commonly say, sometimes they'll say the truth hurts, but really the truth doesn't hurt scripturally, because scripturally Jesus said, I am the truth. So Jesus is the truth, and I really don't think Jesus is trying to hurt you, okay? So the point is that what that feeling of hurt, that pain, does not come from knowing the truth. The truth is enlightening. It's a joyful experience when you learn the truth. What hurts is the conviction of the wrongs you have done. And that causes, and sometimes psychology would use the word depression. It causes the act of sadness and, once again, self-centeredness. But the important thing to remember as you're convicted is that the truth has made manifest the wrongs you have done, and so that you can correct those wrongs, not keep living in them, but rather have a renewing of your mind, like Romans 12:2 says. But because the truth making manifest the wrongs we have done has an aspect of pain and hurt to it, is the reason that psychology does not teach absolute truth. It teaches multiple truth, which once again is not scriptural. In case you haven't noticed, I don't necessarily agree with psychology. And I'm not trying to knock people down, and I'm not yelling at you like I'm right and you're wrong. Okay, this is just what I have learned to be the truth. Okay, I'm coming to you in a loving manner. And I know this video is not specifically supposed to be about the aspect of psychology, so I'm going to try and move on past that. But if you think I should do a video on psychology because you're intrigued and you're interested on how in the world could I have such a radical view towards something so popularly accepted by our culture today, and even Christians today are very commonly promotive of psychology. So once again, just let me know in the comments section if you think I should do a video and you want to learn more about the views I've learned on towards psychology. And if you have any views towards psychology that you want diverse, go ahead and say those in the comments section as well, because we're the body of Christ, and it's important for us to work together to grow toward the truth. That's what this is about, is learning the truth and teaching the truth unfeigned. You know, we can't be biased towards the truth. We can't pick and choose what the truth is, because the truth is the truth in itself. Once I'm getting a little off track here, so that could be a whole nother video as well, just talking about what the truth is. But so once again, if you think I should do a video on any of those subjects, just let me know in the comments section. Alright, so we're going to move on here now. You find yourself on your knees is the next lyric, and that is very important. As we go through trials, God wants us to make all of our requests known to Him, and that is stated, and let me check the verse, I forgot it. That is stated in Philippians 4:6. I have the verses written down on my dry erase board over there, and so it's important as we're going through trials. You know, God He holds the answers to the answers. He is the ultimate answer. He has everything under control, even when we don't. So that's why it's important for us to just go to Him humbly, just falling on our knees before Him, like, hey God, I don't know what in the world's supposed to be going on. And the next verse is on a path you couldn't foresee. And that is, that's what happens a lot. When love is in the picture, nothing goes as planned. Like, once again, it might not be that things aren't going the way you planned them, but it might be that they're going the way God planned them. And that's totally cool, because God is God and you are not. So it's His will rather than ours. Once again, back to the first lyric in the song, you're just living your life doing His will. And that's what's important to remember, is that we should strive to do His will and not our own. And then the next lyric is just praying, God, won't you please help me? So once again, back to the idea of making our requests known to God when we're going through trials and hard times. Even when we're not, to be honest, when we're not going through, it's still totally awesome to just pray to God and worship, you know. Pray without ceasing is mentioned in 1 Thessalonians 5:17. Alright, now we get to the chorus. So I'm only going to go over the meaning to the chorus once, even though the chorus is said 3 times in the actual song. So, oh, why is it so easy to tell the truth when you're in love? And that is, once again, back to the aspect of truth and love mixed together. True love is a very commonly talked about subject, is what is true love. And I think 1 John 4:18 is a good aspect of what true love is it is without fear. And then also 1 Corinthians 13, 1 Corinthians 7, then 1 John 4:8 and 16 both say one very important phrase, and that is God is love. I actually have another love song that's dedicated just to teaching that lesson, that God is love and how it can play into your marriage. But so whenever you're thinking about what true love is, just remember that three-worded phrase, God is love, and that should really direct you down the right path as to what true love is. It's God. So who is God? Well, we learn who God is by studying His Word. And then the next circle is, could it be because your love is true? Once again, going back to the idea of true love. Why does it have to hurt so bad? That's like country song lyric right there, and I put that in there. Because as you learn about love, 1 Corinthians 13, it talks about how love does not covet. And so that hurt and that pain is generally felt when it's not that you're loving the person. Sometimes you feel pain towards the person you love because you see them doing something wrong, and it grieves you. And then sometimes it's because that hurt is actually jealousy, because you did covet that person. And then in that sense, that is not love. When you're having jealousy towards a person because you're coveting them and you want them for yourself type aspect, that's not what love is. And that's a very important thing for us to learn as young singles, because 2 Timothy 2:22 says to flee youthful lust. That's the very first part of it, is flee youthful lusts. And I think the idea of coveting and jealousy is one of the main aspects of youthful lusts that we need to work on getting over, because you commonly ruin a relationship or a friendship when you lust towards that person and you covet that person and you want them for yourself. And then when they become friends with, say, another guy or another girl, you become jealous. Like, whoa, they were spending so much time with me, but now they're spending a lot of time with them as well. And I don't think I'm okay with that. And so it's very important that we remember that's not what love is. It's not coveting and being selfish. Once again, that's going back to the idea of self-love and your own needs. And we'll talk about that in a different video if you guys want me to do that or not. And then the next lyric is, why do you only feel glad when she's saying your name? That is very, like, when a girl says your name, especially if it's a girl that you're interested in, or you like, or you think is cute, or even if you love her, when they say your name, it's like, just hearing their voice is so amazing. Or if they smile at you, it's like you can't help but smile back. And so this lyric is saying, why do you only feel glad? Like, it's all these questions going through this, the mind. And so, gotta take a breather, talking so much. Alright, and then he's talking about why you only feel glad. And I think that's an important thing for us to learn as well and to improve on, is that we not only be glad when they're saying our name, okay? Kind of like we shouldn't only be praying when we're going through a hard time. We should be praying when we're on the top of things. When everything's going right, we should be praying to God and worship and thankfulness as well. And the same thing applies to here, that we should be happy even when they're not saying our name. So I think that's important, an important thing for us to learn. And then, oh, could she ever feel the same? Once again, the word feel. That's having an inward focus when it comes to love. Oh, could she ever feel the same? Well, and just remember, feeling is a very small aspect of love, as I said before. And just don't get caught up in the feeling of love. Oh, could she ever feel the same? Which is actually what was going on right here in this chorus. And then I got all these questions in my mind. That's pretty self-explanatory. You got a lot of questions going on because,